These islands, blue myth brooding in orchid, fern and banyan, and rising where waves clap into shape a brilliant sun, are the stepping stones of the supreme god, Tangaloa. To these islands centuries ago sailed our Polynesian fathers, guided by prophetic stars across the vast mystery of the Pacific Ocean. They gave these islands the name Samoa. Samoa, a name woven into our flesh like the music of bone flutes. Samoa was good to them, yielding to them the rich abundance of her seas and forests. Mullet, bonito, taro, coconut palm, wild pigeon defying spear with a simple plumage. In that time of omens, when man was one with the gods in a cycle of perpetual self-renewal, our fathers evolved a way of life uniquely our own. Then the horizons burst open, and into our lagoons sailed the papalangi, the sky piercers, explorer, missionary, trader, and ultimately the colonial administrator, seeking our conversion to their images, a new God, a written language to sign away our freedom with. A new kingdom was come, a new rule was imposed. We struggled for a long time to regain our independence, suffered, but we won, finally.
Pāwhetai le pule, pāwhetai le tautai ale atua, o tātou waulia mai ai, ma tauru le le ai, lava singa, o le sāilinga, o lo topi mai le atua, ma lo malo.
We know that this is a very important historical morning in all our history, for it is today we have realized the long-standing wish and aspiration of our country in the attainment of our self-independent state.
In 10 years of independence and unprecedented progress, much of our lifestyle has not changed. The kava root is still pounded and the village council meets as it has since time immemorial. The matai, or chiefs, continue to exert guidance and discipline, administer village land and labor. We have never been an intensively cultivated country, perhaps because our food sources were always plentiful and easy to obtain. The venerable coconut, source of copra, has been a major money earner since the coming of the papalangi. Indeed, before then, there was no need of money. Producing copra was merely an extension of our growing coconuts. We had the trees, the manpower, and the sun to dry it in. Although nearly all of us are dependent on the land, we have perhaps been more gardeners than farmers. The prime concern is to provide food for the family, and any surplus is sold. Months of work and hundreds of coconuts earn us as much as most Americans spend on food in 2 days. Land is usually collectively owned by the Ainga, the extended family. One of the few exceptions is our large government trust estates. They led the way with cattle ranching on coconut plantations. Scourge of coconuts is the rhinoceros beetle, still eluding scientific efforts for its extermination. The South Pacific Commission and FAO are researching the problem at Alafua Agricultural College. Most students of Alafua become field workers and in training test their skills of persuasion on visiting farmers. What is needed is modernization of agricultural methods on a massive scale. Many of us see only a few dollars a month in actual money. So it is of little use to tell us we need expensive machinery. Build a house for pigs and chickens? Are they serious? People are slow to change, yet this is not progress for progress' sake. It is a vital necessity, for we have one of the world's fastest growing populations, and we don't have unlimited land. We must have greater productivity for food and exports. We have no mineral resources, but our country does have a rich soil, a good climate, and a strong, healthy people. One of our new industries is timber milling. Now the trees are being felled, they tell us to grow new trees and wait for 50 years for returns. The problem is unique to us. Here, tropical hardwoods have one of the fastest growing cycles. As an industry, the potential appears unlimited, giving a healthy boost to the economy and reducing the need for imports. The hapless turtle is an international delicacy, and for us too. So much so that virtually all we are left with today are large tracts of the undersea grass on which they feed. A conservation program is underway. Turtles are raised in captivity until they can fend for themselves in open waters. We are a reef people, but as with the land, there are problems, for our lagoons are nearly fished out. Beyond the reef is a different story. There is an abundance of fish. The Peace Corps have assisted in organizing fishing cooperatives to build and equip boats for deep-sea fishing. When a whole village gets together, they can then afford an outboard motor. The acceptance of these ventures is more assured when they are accomplished in a Samoan manner and form. In its small way, it could be the beginning of another major industry.
My appointment as Director of Education towards the end of '67 makes me the first Samoan to reach that position of seniority. I have tried to interpret the long-term aim of education as a process whereby we provide modern information and skills and at the same time develop and encourage the maintenance of those aspects of our way of life that would enrich and help Samoans remain Samoans. And therefore we have stressed the changing of subject syllabuses, both in content, in orientation, and in application. The elementary school is almost entirely staffed by Samoans. Most of the senior executive positions in the systems are also held by local people. Our secondary schools and the Teachers' College have hired traditional building guilds to erect fale, or Samoan houses, because these have been deemed necessary in the teaching of some aspects of the language as well as the customs. The Fale Teachers' College at Malifa is the most recently completed one, and the dedication or umsanga was done in accordance with the Samoan traditions. This payment involves our highest form of exchange in Samoa, the fine mats, as well as food and money. The students and the teachers themselves were involved in the whole ritual of payment of the builders. The interest in Samoan culture and Samoan language is also seen in the general life in Samoa. So I think that in time there will be enough of a rebirth in Samoa to make it not so immodest a claim that we are experiencing a renaissance in Western Samoa.
Tapa making is one of the art forms that is being encouraged in the hope that such skills do not die out. The potential danger can be seen in other countries where traditional crafts these days are museum pieces. Speaking of museum pieces, some of our roads rate in this class. Lately, we have seen a vigorous program of major public works, a new harbor, a first-class airport and terminal, and a modern highway linking it to a pier. Our country from tip to tip of the main islands, Upolu and Savaii, is less than 200 miles long, and yet, until recently, this journey took several days. Australian aid and loans from the Asian Development Bank have helped ease our financial burden. Women's lib has not reached Samoa, and we don't expect it to. In Samoa, women can hold chiefly ranks, any government position, and be members of parliament. The women's committees are an example of self-help through combining into an effective working organization. Their work in health programs and fundraising to build village hospitals is invaluable. As well as small district hospitals, country areas are served by visiting nurses. The district nurse lectures on nutrition, domestic science, and hygiene, for our Fale have neither refrigerators nor hot and cold running water. A developing economy such as ours faces many difficulties. For instance, in the field of health, our one general and specialist hospital in Apia is being rebuilt at a cost of $3 million. This is 2/3 of our export earnings in a year. New Zealand made a gift of the entire amount for the new hospital. What is a new hospital, a new road or airport? For us it represents enormous advance, and surely this is the yardstick of progress. Our only city is Apia, the capital, seat of government, and center of commerce. Incentives such as tax holidays for 5 years are used to encourage local industry. While it is unlikely that we'll become a highly industrialized nation, local manufacture is important. The amount and extent of manufacturing is small but increasing, from coconut byproducts to distinctively Samoan materials and styles. We are the heart of Polynesia, and are close to the main Pacific jet routes. Most of our tourists come from the United States of America and Australasia. We had need of regional air services for freight and passengers. Our government combined with local private enterprise in a national airline. Some of our more isolated neighbors have benefited by this. So has our tourist industry.
There is a saying in Samoa that no one does anything out of fear, but out of respect and love. The essence of the Samoan way of life is Faleo'o, respect. When we welcome tourists to our shores, we look to them as guests, to be welcomed and served to make their stay in Samoa a meaningful human experience. And the tourists recognize that our culture and traditions are important to us. Our hope is that every guest that comes to Western Samoa is treated with respect, and our greeting, which is very fitting and proper, is Afio Mai, welcome.
Before the arrival of the missionaries, many of our customs were already based on those similar to Christianity. When Christianity came, it enriched our strong community social life and family ties. Today, these customs are so interwoven with Christian principles that the church is now a powerful influence in the Samoa. Samoa is founded on God. This became our national motto upon the attainment of our sovereignty. Our Constitution says we will be an independent state based on Christian principles and Samoan custom and tradition.
E fai o le fale a le ano a fale. O le ano a fale o le uta ma le tofa. O le nei lava mauta, o le a avernei ma no fuana tu tonu.
This year marks the 10th anniversary of our independence. The occasion was further distinguished by our new Mautafono, Parliament House, officially opened by the head of state, His Highness Malietoa Tanumafili II. Celebrating the occasion of independence reinforces our identity and deepens our sense of belonging to a greater family that is our nation. Hospitality to the visitor is part of our heritage. When we have visitors of rank or importance, there is always the ta'alolo, the traditional presentation of gifts. Of all the events during our annual festivities, Hautasi racing is the most popular. In the past, Hautasi were our means of travel between islands. In this year's race, there was a casualty. However, all are safe, and 'tis better to laugh than weep. We'll build another boat, and we'll return next year to conquer. In our everyday lives, our environment instills in us a love of performing music, song, and dance. Much of what we are today and will be tomorrow is our own choice, retaining that which is precious to us. There will be changes, but not at the expense of our heritage. This is the duality of Samoa. The parliamentary system is a subtle blend of Samoan institutions and Western innovation. It has distinct similarities with our village councils, whose roots go well beyond recorded history. Only the Matai can vote, and he is chosen democratically by members of his ainga. We believe this to be truly representational.
Ono le wha moe moe o lo manai o le ao le malo ma le wha mana tuina o lo tuto tas I spu tau sanga mo vai le o le fo ila
to pena baua mai ai I lunga e o le afe vislau te spunu ma
there is a serenity in the far Samoa, our way of life. We think we may have even mastered time, but if we haven't, we have mastered patience.